At the end of part 1, something impossible had happened. In the Dead Sea Valley, one of the most hostile places on Earth, a single green weed had emerged from soil that had been dead for thousands of years. The swales had worked, the water was sinking, the salt was moving downward, and the land was showing the first signs of life. But here's the uncomfortable truth that almost every documentary about this project skips over. That weed was alive, but the soil it was growing in was still dead. Think about that for a moment. A plant can grow in dead soil for a short time. It can push through, it can survive, but it cannot thrive. It cannot reproduce. It cannot build a forest. Because soil isn't just dirt, it's a living system. It's billions of microscopic organisms working together. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, arthropods, all of them invisible to the naked eye. And in the Dead Sea Valley, those organisms were extinct. The salt had killed everything for centuries. There were no microbes, no fungal networks, no earthworms, no decomposers. The soil had no structure, no nutrients, no immune system. It was like a patient whose heart had started beating again, but whose organs were still failing. Lawton had solved the salt problem, but he had created a new one. How do you bring life back to soil that has forgotten what life is? The answer shocked everyone because it was so simple that agricultural experts had overlooked it for decades. To understand what was missing, you need to understand what healthy soil actually is. Take a handful of healthy soil from a forest. It's dark, it's crumbly, it smells earthy. That smell? That's geosmin, a compound produced by soil bacteria. When you smell healthy soil, you are literally breathing life. Now look at dead soil. It's pale, it's dusty, it has no structure, no smell, nothing. The difference is organic matter. In healthy soil, up to 10% of the weight is living or dead organic material. Things that used to be plants, things that used to be animals, things that are still alive right now, microscopic and hidden. In the Dead Sea Valley, organic matter was practically zero. The salt had destroyed every bit of it. So even after the swales made the soil less salty, it was still lifeless. There was no food for plants, no structure for roots, no water holding capacity. Lawton faced a brutal reality. He had created a place where plants could survive, but not where they could thrive. He needed to add organic matter. He needed to add carbon. He needed to add microbes. But here's the problem. Organic matter is heavy, it's expensive, and the Dead Sea Valley is remote. Hauling in thousands of tons of compost from outside would have cost millions. It would have been unsustainable. It would have defeated the entire purpose of the project, which was to prove that even dead land could regenerate itself. So, Lawton did something so unexpected that even his own team thought he was crazy. He decided to grow organic matter, right there on the deadest soil on Earth. The answer was mulch. But not just any mulch, it had to be the right kind, applied the right way at the right time. Here's why mulch is so powerful. When you cover bare soil with a layer of organic material, wood chips, straw, leaves, or any plant matter, something magical happens underground. First, the mulch shades the soil. The temperature drops. The sun can't bake the surface anymore. This prevents evaporation. It keeps moisture in the ground. Second, the mulch breaks down. Microbes attack it. Fungi digest it. Earthworms pull it into the soil. And as this organic matter decomposes, it releases nutrients, slowly, gently, the way nature intended. Third, and this is the genius part, the mulch feeds the soil's immune system. Because as the organic matter decomposes, it attracts microbes. Bacteria start multiplying. Fungi start spreading. The soil begins to form aggregates, tiny clumps held together by fungal threads and bacterial slime. These aggregates create pores. The pores hold water. The water carries nutrients. And all of that happens without human intervention after the initial application. Lawton's team brought in local organic waste, things that would have been thrown away elsewhere. Agricultural waste, tree trimmings, dead leaves. None of it was expensive. None of it was imported from far away. They spread it thickly across the land. Some areas got 10 centimeters of mulch, others got 20, and then they walked away. Now this is where most people expect a dramatic result immediately, but that's not how soil works. For the first few months, nothing happened above ground. The land looked exactly the same, white, cracked, dead. But underneath the mulch, hidden from view, a war was being fought. The organic matter was feeding microbes, the microbes were multiplying, the fungal networks were starting to grow, and the salt that remained in the soil was slowly being bound up into harmless compounds. The soil was coming back to life, and when it finally emerged above ground, the transformation was almost unbelievable. 3 months after the mulch was applied, the first visible change appeared. Grass, not weeds, genuine grass species that had not grown in this valley for generations. Within 6 months, that grass had spread into patches, then into fields. Then came the pioneer trees, fast-growing species that could tolerate the remaining salt. They were planted directly into the mulch, and they took off. Roots that had struggled to penetrate the hard, salty soil now dove deep into the loosened earth. Water that had once evaporated within hours now stayed in the ground for weeks. And then something surprising happened. Animals arrived. Birds, insects, soil-dwelling creatures that had been absent for decades. They came because the plants were there, and they brought new seeds and new life. The mulch had done its job. It had created the foundation for an ecosystem. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating, because the plants that grew in the first year were not the plants that Lawton had planned. Nature had its own ideas, and those ideas led to something even more powerful. A hidden network that connects every plant in the forest. A network so complex that scientists call it the Wood Wide Web. It was growing right beneath their feet, and it was about to explode. This is mycelium. It's a network of fungal threads that lives in healthy soil, and it is one of the most underappreciated forces on Earth. Mycelium connects the roots of different plants. It allows them to communicate, to share nutrients, to warn each other of threats. When one plant is attacked by insects, it sends a chemical signal through the mycelium. Other plants receive that signal and produce defensive compounds. They prepare for attack. When a tree is dying, it can transfer its remaining carbon to other trees through the mycelium, keeping the forest alive even as it passes away. This is not science fiction. This is the real biology of healthy soil. And in the Dead Sea Valley, it was absent for centuries, until the mulch brought it back. As the organic matter decomposed, fungal spores that had been dormant for years finally woke up. The mycelium began to spread. It connected the pioneer plants. It began to build the underground infrastructure that all forests require. Within 2 years, the mycelium was so extensive that the soil had completely changed texture. It had gone from dense and salty to crumbly and rich. Water infiltration improved by over 400%. The plants above ground responded dramatically. Tree growth accelerated, fruit production started, vegetables began to thrive where nothing had grown before. But here's the thing that shocked even Lawton. The mycelium was not just helping the plants, it was actively fighting the salt. Fungal hyphae, those tiny threads, produce organic acids. These acids break down salt crystals. They release minerals that have been locked in the soil for millennia. They make nutrients available to plants that would otherwise starve. The soil that had been dead was now more alive than anyone had imagined possible. And Lawton realized something profound. He hadn't just fixed the Dead Sea Valley, he had uncovered the secret to fixing any dead land on Earth. But there was still one element missing, an element that most people wouldn't expect, something that would take the project from a scientific experiment to a self-sustaining miracle. Animals. Most people think animals and forests are separate, that you can have one or the other. But in nature, they are connected. Animals provide manure. Manure feeds the soil. Soil feeds the plants. Plants feed the animals. It's a cycle, a closed loop. And it's exactly what the Dead Sea Valley needed next. Lawton introduced chickens first. They scratched through the mulch, eating insects and aerating the soil. Their droppings added nitrogen and phosphorus. Then came goats. They grazed on the fast-growing pioneer species, keeping them from taking over. Their hooves pressed seeds into the soil. Their manure added even more organic matter. And the soil responded faster than ever before. In areas where animals were introduced, soil fertility doubled within 18 months. The plants grew thicker, the fruits grew larger, the forest began to produce food, real food, on land that had been declared dead. But here's what no one expected. The animals didn't just help the soil, they actually helped the project become permanent. Because the people who lived nearby saw what was happening, they stopped laughing, they started learning. And that is where the story takes its final turn.